What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 37th podcast of Full Court Talk. My name is Spencer, and as you guys can see, Myles is back, man. It's been a minute.
What's good,
Yep.
man? Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you,
Good.
man. So we have a lot to talk about. Trade deadline has passed, uh, and the Rockets' official, haul for James Harden was really bad. Um, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the winners of the trade deadline because this was one of the most active deadlines I've ever seen. I woke up that morning and I saw like 30 trades going down. That was
Yeah.
insane. What teams should have made a move? Uh, which team looks the best after the trade deadline? And we added two more topics. Obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge signs with the Brooklyn Nets. Andre Drummond signs with the Lakers. And one thing CJ and I want to talk about is why is Aaron Gordon so corny with picking numbers? We'll get into that. It's weird.
Yeah.
But so just to go through what the James Harden trade essentially got for the Rockets was 4 first-round picks, which is really good, 5 first-round pick swaps, which is also really good. You got 20 games of Victor Oladipo, Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, Dante Exum, and Rodions Kurucs. And also PJ Tucker was traded for DJ Wilson, DJ Augustine, and picks.
Mhm.
Not great. You have, instead of getting Victor Oladipo, you could have gotten a Karis LeVert, who is a younger version that's less expensive and probably would have been a better fit with their youth movement that they want to do. But for some reason they wanted to trade Victor Oladipo, or they wanted to get a trade piece back and they felt Victor Oladipo was worth more. I don't agree with that because it was pretty much anyone that was around the NBA could see he was going to leave no matter what. No matter where he went to, he was going to find his way to Miami. What'd he do? He found his way to Miami. I think it shows the inexperience of the Rockets front office. I believe this is their first season, as their first full season being in the office, and it showed because they made some ballsy moves, some risky moves, but they made some really bad moves. Victor Oladipo being one of them. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to like. What do you guys think of the Rockets haul for James Harden?
I think you're right. It does show their inexperience.
Mhm.
Because I mean, like, the draft picks are good, but you don't you could have gotten better than Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk. Like, even
Yeah.
you could have asked for Spencer Dinwiddie from Brooklyn. I know he's hurt, but
Yeah.
he's still a young prospect who could be a nice running mate next to John Wall. I do want to give him kind of a pass just because a lot of this is residue from all of the prior runs these past couple years. I always say, like, I respect people going all in and going for it instead of just trying to play both sides like in the middle. You can't both
Yeah.
rebuild and contend. So I respect them on that. But yeah, it's just really glaring because I mean, you have John Wall, you have Christian Wood. That's about it. And not like those draft picks will even be that valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, for me, yeah, they should have just pulled the trigger with what Brooklyn had to offer. Because essentially, like, no disrespect to the players involved, but the Rockets got nothing back. Like, nothing. You know what I mean? Avery Bradley, he's not even going to sign with them. Like, if I read correctly, he's getting bought out. So he's on the market again. Kelly Olynyk, and then the other guy, like, what's his name? Rod.
Kurucs.
Karuks, yeah. So like he wasn't even on the team. Like he got traded alongside PJ Tucker.
I
And
think he
like
has I think he has some off the court issues
oh, that's
legally. I think he
even
has
worse.
some issues with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also like, Dante Exum, like what do you call this? He's not who he was, you know what I mean? And like they already have John Wall. And so like it's just everything they got. It just doesn't make sense. Like you said, they should have just gotten Karras because I mean, although like fortunately they saw that little cancer, in his liver. He's back to balling and he's doing so well for the Pacers. And then obviously Jared Allen is doing so well for the Cavs, post Brooklyn. But yeah, it's just you can see the inexperience with the Houston front office. I mean, it's kind of sad because Steven Silas, like he looks like he's a good coach from his tenure from before, and then like how he cares about the players. And I don't think he deserves to be dealing with stuff like this. John Wall too, and Christian Wood. But yeah, like essentially all in all, Houston got nothing in return, and they let go of James Harden, and then Oladipo was a rental player, but they got rid of him quick, and they got nothing. So yeah, hopefully they can learn from this moving forward, like if they keep their positions. But yeah, it just looks bad.
Yeah, and another thing to add is like they kind of fell ass backwards into Kevin Porter Jr. Like,
Yeah,
if they never made that trade, like they wouldn't have seen how good he actually is. And they're
exactly.
lucky because he looks like a James Harden light player. He's been really good for them so far. He was incredible in the G League.
Mm-hmm.
And they're incredibly lucky that they even have him on their roster because
Yeah,
they really just got lucky even making that trade. I mean, they traded nothing for him, so it was good. But,
mm-hmm.
I mean, to trade one of the best offensive players in basketball and to get 20 games of Victor Oladipo, Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and Dante Exum, Karooks.
Yeah, yeah,
Not great. You would have rather just taken Jared Allen and Karis LeVert instead.
yeah.
Two young guys that are blooming into not stars, but very good players. So it's tough to see. I mean, the Rockets are back on the bottom after being at the top for so long.
Yeah.
I was reading something this morning about all this, and it's not confirmed, but it's rumored that they even passed on Ben Simmons just because out of spite because Daryl Morey is there. So I mean, if that's true, it's even worse.
The
I've seen that too.
pettiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that too.
The pettiness, man.
Yeah.
That's
For real.
tough.
Yeah.
Man, the Rockets had a tough deadline and
Yeah.
have had a tough like this season after losing like 20 straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, not looking great. But going on to the winners of the deadline, who do you guys have as a team that solely won the trade deadline?
Ooh. Well, I'll go. I have the Chicago Bulls. I have them winning. I understand that they lost against the Spurs in the first game out with the new guys, but I think Zach LaVine was in a lot of trade rumors, up until the deadline, right? And so like for them to trust him with the keys to the franchise, which I believe he already had, and getting another superstar to pair alongside with him, in Vooch, like he's that fundamentally all-star. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys or Myles or anybody else has seen like the most previous podcasts, but I said that there's always that one guy in the All-Star game that is just there just because he puts up numbers, and that's Vooch. You know what I mean? Nothing flashy and all that. So I'm glad that he has a running mate with Zach LaVine now, and he needed to get out of Orlando. So I think Chicago won also just because there was also a logjam in the front court, with Wendell Carter, Lauri Markkanen, and even Patrick Williams, who they just drafted. And, they're trusting the rookie and they're trusting Lauri Markkanen to get healthy. Because of the two, Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter, that they're always injury prone. Sorry to say. I'm very high on Wendell because he's a Duke guy, but he just hasn't, been able to put it together for Chicago. And so, they want somebody to play alongside Vooch, and they believe that it's Markkanen because he can stretch the floor, right? And so by getting them, I think not possibly this season, but maybe next season they can get into playoff contention. But it's just what they did for Zach LaVine and getting him a star to pair alongside him. I think they won, and then a close second is Denver. Because after Torrey Craig signed with Milwaukee, they had a hole in the 3 spot, and they were trying to make it Michael Porter Jr., but I feel like he's more of a natural stretch 4. And so by getting Aaron Gordon, he has somebody, or the Nuggets have somebody, that is a frequent flyer. Somebody Jokic can get it to for the highlight plays, and he can also defend. And so, yeah, it's just for me, it's Chicago and Denver.
Yeah, I have Denver first for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like they build their need. They
Yep.
needed a wing who was athletic,
Mm-hmm.
who plays above the rim, who can defend. That way, you obviously run offense through Jokic. You have a slashing
Yep.
threat. You have shooters all around. And I think now because of that, matchup wise, they're a nightmare. And
Yeah.
they didn't even give up a lot for him. They gave up Gary Harris. I forget who the other person was, but I mean,
Otto
they're
Porter.
no. I remember who it
Oh,
was.
wait. Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. Yeah, and then second I have Miami, similarly because they got Oladipo and
Yes.
gave up nothing. I mean, like you said, no disrespect to Avery Bradley and Olenek. I like Bradley. I don't like
Yep.
Olenek.
Yep.
But they didn't give up picks. And Oladipo, he's shown flashes so far. He's been terrible in terms of, but
Yeah.
I mean he's into a good culture, a good system. I think they can get the best version out of him.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually had Miami as my like sole winner, just because they were very active, but they didn't
Yeah.
blow up their roster to do so. Like you said,
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo was traded for chump change.
Yeah.
I think another thing to note is that I really like that they traded Myles Leonard after everything that happened, and now he's out of the
Yeah.
league, so that's a win for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Trevor Ariza is going to fit because a lot of teams love Trevor Ariza for whatever reason. He keeps getting these $10-15 million deals for no
Yep.
reason.
Yeah.
He's obviously declining, but
Yeah.
for trading nothing, pretty good. I think a guy to watch out for is Nemanja Bjelica. They traded
From the
Chris Silva.
Kings. Yeah.
He's good. He's a good shooter and he replaces that Myers Leonard role.
Yeah.
Bjelica is going to be someone that I think is can fit into that Bogdanovich role, like the Jazz have him. Just
Yeah.
come off the bench, just shoot threes, and just create some offense. With the team like Miami, they solely ride off their defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get two offensive guys like Oladipo and Bjelica. That's huge for them because we saw in the playoffs last year, even in the finals, they struggled to score, but they could defend.
Yeah.
So they're going all in. They are on a pretty good streak lately. I know going into the deadline, they're doing really well because Jimmy Butler finally back, averaging a triple double. Now he's
Just about.
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
off. He's
Mhm.
doing really well. And obviously, I had the Bulls. The Bulls were very active. I think getting a superstar, and instead of blowing up and starting over again like they have been, they doubled down on playoff aspirations, and it was bold, and I like it. Vucevic is a really good offensive player, and I think he's an underrated defender. He's a big body in the middle, but he's a phenomenal rebounder, which Wendell never was.
Yeah.
And trading an injury-prone young guy that was going to need an expensive extension
Yeah.
makes it even better because you get a guy that's already established for a guy that never really proved anything. It's a good move. And also getting Troy Brown and Daniel Tice as solid backups, even
Exactly.
better. I think they had a really good deadline. I think they can sneak into the playoffs this season, but I'm not sure if they're going to make any noise just yet. But I think in the future, they're definitely going to make some noise.
Yeah.
But what teams should have made a move? This is a tough one.
Pelicans.
Yeah. I'm shocked they
Yeah.
didn't move anyone.
Yeah.
Well, they moved Reddick, but I mean that's
Yeah. I was reading something about that, about how like they should have just bought him out, but instead, they shipped him out to Dallas.
Yep.
But I think although like the Pelicans did make that move, I think they could have gotten more aggressive. We've been receiving like conflicting views on what Lonzo feels about the Pelicans. I'm not sure like who to believe. He hasn't said anything himself like out there to put it out there, but I mean, if I had to guess, I know he loves playing with Zion, Bi, Josh Hart. Those are his guys. But his dad says one thing, the media says another thing. How they want him to leave. He wants to go somewhere else. But I think they should have shopped him because he might leave for free agency. So I think they should have got something in return now. But I think they love the tandem that they got with Zion and Bi, and then Lonzo is a good facilitator, obviously, for those two offensive powerhouses for the Pelicans. But yeah, it's just I feel like they could have shopped them around for some more. Like, I hate to say it, but maybe they really should have traded him to the Clippers. The Clippers would have gotten a major upgrade at the guard spot if they traded him. I think they should have got rid of Patrick Beverly. But I mean, yeah, I would say the Pelicans for sure. They should have been more aggressive.
Yeah. I have two random teams. They're both not in the playoff hunt. First, I had the Wizards. I know Brad Beal hasn't expressed he wants to leave, and obviously he's your superstar, so you want to keep him. But I mean, you have him and Russ, and you're like not even in the what do you do? It's tough because a lot of these contenders don't even have the assets to pull that kind of trade off. Like Lakers have nothing, Brooklyn has nothing, Clippers have nothing. But I just feel like you're paying him and Russ all that money to be a lottery team. So that for them. And then also in the West, I had the Kings because similarly, De'Aaron Fox is playing out of his mind.
Yep.
And for what?
Yeah.
Even though it is the West, you could probably contend with the Mavs maybe, or
Grizzlies.
Yeah, Grizzlies. Yeah. But I mean, they're just putting up all these empty numbers for losses, and it just sucks to see good players and young guys wither away on terrible teams.
Yeah, and with Bradley Beal, I understand why they don't want to trade him. Like you said, he's their star player. But we've never seen Bradley Beal put up good numbers on a good team. And I think that's something to note. But any team would take Bradley Beal. I mean, he averages 35 points a game on efficient numbers. The only team I could have seen trading for him would be the Warriors. And I'm not sure I would want to give up Wiseman and our Minnesota pick plus probably a lot more players just because we need to match the salaries.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough to say just because he's got a big contract, and like you said, not a lot of good teams have that kind of space to maneuver a trade like that. Going off Lonzo, I think they should have traded him. It sounds like he's going to the Knicks or the Bulls. It seems like he's pretty much made his point known. I'm not sure how much his dad is involved anymore. Kind of seems like they're estranged, but LeVar doesn't want to make it seem that way. Kind of seems like Lonzo's on his own at this point, which makes sense. He's a grown man, so
he's a grown man now.
I actually have the Warriors who should have made a move. With Kelly Oubre having up and down season, with teams still wanting him because he's on an expiring contract, I think they should have traded him. And then what kind of doubled this down for me was his comments about not wanting to come off the bench next season, because he has to come off the bench with Clay, and they're not going to bench Wiggins on a $40 million contract. They want to get the most out of him. And he's still going to command over $20 million, no doubt. So I get if they didn't get any good trades, but it sounds like Kelly Oubre was pretty sought after during this whole thing. Yeah. Maybe you could have swung a trade for Lonzo, who I would have been okay with paying because he's younger, and I think he would have fit perfect next to Clay and Steph. So we'll see. But as of right now, it looks like the Warriors should have traded Kelly, which sucks because I like him. I think he's been good so far. He gives his all every night, so that's something respectable. But honestly, if the Lakers didn't get Drummond, I would have said the Lakers.
Same.
I was shocked how little they were, or like how non-aggressive they were. Because I saw someone say that I think it was Devin the Lab. He said that he liked last year's team more, just
Oh yeah,
because of how aggressive they were in games. I think this year they've been lethargic, and I know they're dealing with a lot of injuries, so it's kind of tough. But it's tough to see a team that's so good kind of struggle, even though they're at the top of the West.
yeah. But Spencer, you're forgetting the most important trade of the whole deadline. Your team did make a move, man.
Oh, you're right, Wanamaker. It was just like when I saw that, a tear came down my face of joy. But bro, I
There's your
was
chip right
so
there.
sad about Marquise Chris.
Mm.
They
I can't
waived
believe
him
we
too,
traded
which
him.
makes
Yeah.
which makes it worse.
The Warriors
Um,
could still get him, but it probably wouldn't be to the off season just because he's hurt. He's out for the
yeah,
season. I
yeah.
hope he comes back because I like Marquise a lot.
Hmm.
But with Wanamaker and Keith gone, that means JTA should get a full contract, which is so deserved by now.
Yeah,
But we'll see. Wanamaker
yeah.
gone makes me happy though. I could have just hoped for you guys to get rid of Kuzma, but which teams look best after the trade deadline?
Yeah,
As much as I want to say the Nets, we're going to talk about them in the next topic, so we'll save that for a
yeah,
little bit. Um, Honestly, the Heat, bolstering up on every part that they were struggling with last season and even early on in the season. Um, Offense, their offense has been stagnant at times. Tyler Hero has been good, but not great like last season, and
yeah,
it's probably just a sophomore slump, which is understandable. Um, Jimmy Butler was hurt for a lot of the season, early parts of the season, so they were struggling through it. But now they're coming back. Victor Oladipo is going to be deadly, um, just because he gives that closer next to Jimmy Butler, who's already a fantastic closer. But
yeah,
giving them just another option down the line will help a lot. Uh, and like I said, I'm really high on Bielitsa. I think he's a good pick for them. Um, but hopefully this means Tyler Hero can come off the bench and kind of lead that second unit in scoring because he is a very good player. And I think the Heat are going to see that more so now. And I'm glad they didn't trade him for Kyle Lowry because Kyle Lowry has been pretty bad this season, which is,
yeah,
I mean, he's like 36, so can't really see him getting much better from here on, or even he's going to get worse, obviously. But it was smart of them to stick with a guy like Tyler Hero. But who do you guys think won, or who do you think looks the best after the trade deadline?
I hate to say it, but it's that other LA team, man. The Clippers.
Really?
Yeah, I know Rondo isn't what he was, but my thing with the Clippers is they have the talent they need to contend.
yep,
They just didn't have the cohesion, they didn't have the drive, like whatever mental thing it wasn't there. So
yeah,
now you have who was the Lakers' third best, like third or fourth at worst best player throughout last year's playoff run.
yeah,
He can steady the ship. Whatever he lacks on the court, he makes up for in the locker room. Um, and like you have a real point guard instead of Lou Williams or Pat Bev, and they're going to be crazy defensively, probably even better offensively. And obviously, if the matchup comes to be, Rondo knows a lot of the Lakers sets and stuff. So
yeah. True. For me, I would say the Blazers. Initially, like I was talking to Spencer about this, Miles. I didn't understand why they traded, Rodney Hood and Gary Trent, especially since Gary Trent, like when CJ was out, like he was playing really well alongside Dame. But after he explained to me, like from a business standpoint, it makes sense. And plus, like Norman Powell, like he's no chump. Like he can defend, he can put up numbers. But you know, even after the deadline, they look like they haven't missed a beat. Like Norman Powell fits seamlessly well with the team that they got, and they really didn't make that big of a move aside from that. It's just my thing was like Gary Trent was younger, and he defends better and he has a better shot. But Norman Powell's had a streaky season. Like I said, I only know this because I have him on fantasy.
I
But
do too.
recently,
Dude, he's been hooping though.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Recently, he's been putting up numbers, bro, like 30-point games, like back to
Mhm.
back to back. And so, like, the season for the Raptors this season obviously been a down season. Like, they're not competing. They're one of the worst teams in the East. And so, like, for Norman Powell to go to a contender again, in the West, that's gonna be good for him. But yeah, it's just, to me, like, the Blazers, they just look good. We talked about this like before the season started. Like, they had a really good off season, and then like going into the season, like, they put the pieces together, and they look like a really good Western team, man. And so hopefully, they could advance, but not in our expense, obviously. But yeah, so I have the Portland Trailblazers post trade deadline.
Yeah, I think they look really good. Norman Powell's a guy that quietly puts up 20 points per game. You look at the numbers,
Exactly.
you're like, Norman Powell scores what?
Yeah.
He's good on defense. He's a hooper. I think he's a perfect fit next to Dame and CJ. And even though he's only 6'4", listed at
Yeah.
6'4", he plays a
Mhm.
lot taller than he actually is because he plays a lot. He can play the 3.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to go super small, he can play the 4.
Yeah.
He's just a really good player. And he fits with that Portland team who needs a lot of help on that defensive side, but offensively, he gives them a lot too.
Yep.
Facts.
But going on to our fifth topic, LaMarcus Aldridge signs with the Brooklyn Nets. Kind of explodes NBA Twitter. Andre Drummond signs with the Lakers. I know you guys are happy about that because you guys get a solid big. And I say solid because he hasn't really done much else other than put up numbers. But I think he's a good fit. But I was talking to my friend Marcus of the Goat Talk podcast,
Mhm.
and he was saying that this Aldridge move looks really good because he's a big name, but it was counterproductive. And I kind of agree with him because right now it kind of seems like KD is the guy calling the shots here. He's trying to be like LeBron, right? But it seems like he's like, big name, get him. Big name, get him. Blake Griffin, who has been injury prone for a lot of last season, this season, they signed him. And I know he's a good player only at 31, but he's an offensive guy. LaMarcus Aldridge, he's old. His offensive game is still there, but still no defense.
Yeah.
I think they would have benefited from going towards the defensive route because why do you need more offense when you have 3 of the purest offensive players in the game of basketball right now in KD, James Harden, Kyrie? I think in the regular season, you can score 150 a game and you'll be fine. Most teams aren't going to be able to compete with something like that. But that lack of defense is going to kill you in shootouts in the playoffs because a great team with great defenders, even if you have the best offensive players in the world, they can have a cold night. They can have a rough shooting night and your season's over just like that. Defense is going to win you games down the line. And like, look at the Lakers, one of the best defenses in the finals last season. The Warriors were always a great defensive team. The Raptors were a great defensive team. Defense wins you championships. As much as everyone says that, as cliche as it is, it's true. It'll be interesting to see. But another thing to note, KD hasn't played in a long time.
Yeah.
Is he going to get enough time when he comes back? If he comes back, because right now we don't understand what's going on. And there's no word of him even coming back soon. So
Yeah.
I think initially it was like LaMarcus Aldridge went to the Nets, but then you think about it as like, I don't know how good it's going to be, you know? But what do you guys think about Aldridge to the Nets?
Yeah. Go ahead, Myles.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool. Well, for me, dude, honestly, LaMarcus Aldridge going to the Nets, like you said, it was a shocker. NBA Twitter blowing up. Like, initially, I thought he was going to Miami.
Yeah, I thought
I
so
really
too.
thought he was going to Miami. Just because, like, I feel like he would have fit better there, and like, because
Yeah.
all they have right now is is Bam and Precious. And so I think they could have really helped them. This was before the Bielitsa trade.
Yeah.
So I really feel
Yeah.
like they could have used them. But I think that him going to the Nets, like you said, is just a power play on KD's part. He's trying to get every big name like out there. And I honestly I respect it. He's trying to compete for a ship. And so and like you said, he hasn't been able to announce when, I mean, not him specifically, but the team itself is. I don't know when they're announcing of him coming back. But like I was telling you, Spence, all KD needs to do is just, rehab as much as possible. And if they make it to the finals, and I'm pretty sure they will, even without KD, he can just show up game one and just be ready to go,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Aldridge plays out with their offense. But like you said, defensively, Blake and him, I don't think it's a good upgrade if they were trying to go for defense, because I understand they've had their stretches where they play really good defense, but DeAndre Jordan, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Blake Griffin are a shell of their old selves. And so, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But I really like what he said about KD trying to play GM, because that's what it's really looking like right now. But yeah, initially, as soon as it's a big name at the end of the day, LaMarcus Aldridge is still a big name, even though he's old. So even when he signed, it's wow, he actually went there. Myles, I was telling Spencer, I initially thought that LaMarcus Aldridge was going to go to the Heat. I mean, that's what I thought from the beginning. But him going to the Nets, it's a power play, man. And I mean, I wanted him on the Lakers too. We recruited him before he went to the Spurs. But yeah, I think that the Nets defensively, they did not get any better. But I mean, if you're looking for a team to score 200 points, this is the team. So
You're not wrong.
I don't know where I dropped out at, so I'll just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the other way. I love, if I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, I love the signing.
Yeah.
Because they're going all in on offense. Even if Durant can't come back in time, or he comes back not himself, I still think they're the best team in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Main reason is because Blake and LaMarcus aren't what they were before.
Yeah.
But they're going to be going against second units.
Yeah.
So they can be themselves. There's no pressure on them.
True.
And that's really that's really helpful for players. Look at Kuz. He got paid. He's playing. He's not thinking. He's just feeling and playing. And I love this again because they're leaning into their offense. I don't know if you guys know the story about when D'Antoni was with the Suns. He literally got mad at a player for running to get back on defense. He was like, "What are you doing? Let him score so we can turn around and run back down." So I think that's their philosophy. They have a super Steve Nash and James Harden. You have three dudes who can create their own shots and create shots for others. I know the game slows down in the playoffs, but all those dudes can operate from the three, from the mid range, in the paint. It's just going to be a nightmare to defend. So
yeah, very true.
I actually would have liked Aldridge if he went back to Portland. I think that would have been really interesting from a narrative standpoint.
Yep.
But if you want to lean into all offense, there's no better team to go to than the Nets. If all five of these guys are on the floor at once and they're all healthy, that's scary because you have five guys who can get their own no matter where they are,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this team in action. I just want to see KD back because it's tough break after tough break for him.
Yeah.
But is Andre Drummond the best buyout of all time? I've never seen a player of this caliber become a buyout option. And so it's kind of insane because he's averaging 18 and 13, 18 and 14, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like 17 and a half and like 13 and a half. So you're
That's
right there,
insane. I mean, he only played 12 games, I guess, which I didn't realize. He didn't play a ton. But with that being said, Andre Drummond is a very good center. At one point, he might have been one of the best centers. I think he just never really grew after kind of blooming into himself. But he should fit really well when the Lakers are all healthy. He's never played with a playmaker like LeBron. He's never played with a defensive force like AD. I mean, I think his best player next to him was Greg Monroe at the time, maybe
Yeah.
Blake Griffin last year.
Yeah.
He's never had a great team around him. Josh Smith and Brennan Jennings come to mind when we talk about his best team.
Yeah.
Not a great team. But, like that scout said, Drummond can give you 30 and 20 but still have no impact in the game. I don't know how true that is on a bad team because the Cavs were not a good team.
Yep.
But we're going to see. The Lakers are a totally different story. They're a very good team. And adding him to a team without LeBron and AD should help a lot.
Yeah.
But, we talked about this a little before, so I want to hear what you guys have to say now. I'm sure you guys are very excited for when he plays his first game. But what do you guys think?
Man, hey, Myles, Spence, bro. There's a Mount Rushmore of bigs for the Lakers, bro. And Andre Drummond is number one.
Oh, God.
Shaq is right after. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, of course, I'm sure I can speak for us Lakers fans. Like, we're all very excited. First of all, I'm glad he didn't go to Brooklyn because they still have one roster spot.
Yeah.
My God, But yeah, I saw a tweet when like Drummond was treating this buyout like it was a free agency. You know what I mean? Like he was like waiting to sign. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I'm glad to have like an upgrade at the center spot because unfortunately the Marc Gasol experiment didn't work. Offensively, like we're way better with Marc Gasol, but it's just defensively like it's not the same when we had JaVale and Dwight. And it's kind of sad because, I really wanted Dwight. I thought we had him in the bag, but, we didn't. And so, like, getting Drummond is I'm just so glad because the transition for me personally, I think it'll be very easy because, he got Keith that he played with and he got KCP that he played with. And so, like you said, getting him with AD and Bron, like, it out right now, I think it really helps him get acclimated into the team much better. And then, like, I understand that it's not easy to play alongside LeBron, but I feel like, at this point in time of his career, like, of him being more of a facilitator, I think it's going to benefit him even more. And, these empty stats that we talk about, I think it's going to be, well, the context is not going to be there anymore because obviously he's going to help us a whole lot. And I can't wait to see, that first lob play with Bron when he's healthy, the same thing we were doing with Damian Jones, you know what I mean? And like, the last thing I want to say is just, I'm happy because, I was hoping that we get him because if he didn't, I was going to convince myself that Damian Jones is a top 5 center in the league. You know what I mean? And so I'm just glad that we got him.
Yeah, man. I'm relieved to be honest because
Yes.
after the Aldridge signing and before the
Yeah.
Drummond signing, I was like, oh my God, like what the hell can we do?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need a big body, like skill aside, like how many guys did Shaq get paid back in the day just to burn 6 fouls on him? And Drummond is a level above that. He's an above average center, I would say, even in today's game.
Yeah.
I know his impact is still up for debate, but just to have a big, reliable body on both ends to crash the boards, to get defensive boards, and it's just such a trip for me because it was such a switch up from last year. Last year, the paint production was amazing, but there were no other playmakers and no other offense creators. So this year it's the other way around where there's a good amount of offense creators, but we don't have enough rim protection. So I'm like Spencer said, I'm very excited to just see him on the court, see how they mesh. And I'm still holding out hope, man, because I'm not too confident about LeBron and AD. Even if they get back in time, like they have to ramp up. It's rough out here.
And the injuries they have are not they're bad. High
Yeah.
ankle sprains
They're not minor injuries.
They're
Yeah.
high ankle sprains
Yeah.
are tough to come back from, especially at someone at LeBron's age. No matter how superhuman you are, that's tough. And
Yeah.
then AD dealing with we don't know.
Question mark.
Yeah,
Calf, Achilles. Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
he can't push it to the point where it tears. You don't want to be another KD. You want to rest up till you're fully back from it. You don't want I don't care if you want to mesh with your team, just
Yeah.
ease your way
Yeah.
back in. But one more
Yeah.
thing I got to ask you guys.
Yeah.
So how did it feel seeing Danny Green drop 28?
Man.
The funniest thing, man.
Yeah. Hey, Myles called it, bro. I'm gonna say Myles called it. Sorry, guys, dealing with technical difficulties, but Myles called it, man. Like 28 points in his return, man, on ring night for them,
Yeah.
right? Oh my god. Tell
Shot
me
his
how.
ass off, bro.
Yeah, he really did. Hey, and tell me like Dwight, bro. Like that is the most Dwight thing to do. Get your ring and then get ejected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, Danny Green, and for him to hit the dagger on Kuzma, it just topped it off for me, man. I was just like, all right, bro, whatever, dude.
Ruined
like,
CJ's night.
bro, it really did. I was so mad, bro, because I turned the game off, and then I was like, wow, we're only down 10. Okay, I'll watch again, and then whoa, like we had it, and then boom, another corner three. Like, wow, where was that in the finals, bro? But hey, like at the end of the day, like I'm happy for the guy. That was a revenge game. Who doesn't want to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But bro, 28, come on, man.
And he
I know.
struggled all season.
He
Yeah.
struggled.
Good
He
all.
really has.
Not been good
Bro.
at all.
He had the game circled on his calendar.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna get my ring. I'm gonna drop 28.
Yeah, and then boom, fell off the face of the earth again. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was great personally.
man.
Love to
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
But the last topic, why is
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon so corny? So CJ and I talked about this briefly when we saw this, but so I saw a tweet and it said, when you see Aaron Gordon wearing number 50 tonight for the Nuggets, here's why. Number one, he wanted a fresh start coming to Denver. I get it. That's a good reason. Could have stopped there.
Yep.
Number two, he chose 50 because of his dunk contest scores and the fact that he didn't win. His documentary called Mr. 50.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys know. Aaron Gordon chose 0-0 because those are the eyes when he dunks, right? He wants to be super exciting to watch. And now he wants to be number 50 because that's his score for the dunk contest. And it just sounds kind of like, not petty, but it just sounds kind of like
He's still not over it, man.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a dunk contest, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only thing I want to say about it is like I understand. I mean, I'm trying to understand it, I guess, but it just looks weird. Miles, I was telling Spencer, I was like, bro, he should have just kept his Arizona number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like even his MIDI number. But it just bothers me. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like I'm not getting paid to watch him. You know what I mean? But it just looks weird to me. Like 00 and then 50. But it doesn't look weird on Cole Anthony for some reason.
Well, I think because he went from 0-0 to 50, and it's just like Cole Anthony wore that. Like he wore it for his dad, right?
He wore it for his dad. Yeah,
So
he was 2 for North Carolina. So
see, that's a good reason. Aaron Gordon choosing 50 because of that's like he never won a dunk contest. Is like you're just coming off like a sore loser to me. But
repping all the dudes from San Jose.
That's who we have representing us. A guy who has 50 for dunk contest. Oh man.
But speaking of which, like I just want to say, like speaking of numbers, I want to see what Drummond is gonna wear because he can't get 3, right? And he can't get 0.
Isn't
so? I don't know. I don't know.
I saw him post a picture, and I swear it was 11.
I mean, if it's 11, it's cool, But yeah, because he can't wear, like I said, he can't wear 3, he can't wear 0. Even though I wish Kuzma would give up that number.
No, he'd make him wear his outfit.
For real. Oh man.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon is a weird guy.
Yeah.
That's what we have repping us in the NBA.
Seriously.
I mean, he had a
Oh,
good
man.
game the other night. I think he had like 16. He was like 6 and 9 from the field. He had a
His
good
debut.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good
That's
game.
true. Yeah.
It's weird seeing. You don't see numbers that high in the NBA
Yeah.
unless they're Taco Fall at 99. That's kind of normal. Yeah, he's tall. So
JTA.
JTA at 95.
Yeah.
I like it, but 50 just looks
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know why. But that's going to do it for our 37th podcast. So thank you to Myles for hopping on. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
Myles.
We
Thank
want to
you.
have you on more. I've been lacking on everything.
I hear you, man. It's been a rough stretch, but
Yeah.
I'm always here. I always appreciate it. I always love talking to you guys. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
we always love having you on.
Exactly.
But all our social medias are going to be down in the link below. Be sure to check us out, like, comment, and subscribe. But that's going to do it for us. Catch you guys in the next one. See you guys.